Hello, and welcome to the Knowing Show. I am so looking forward to the conversation we're going to be having today. We are diving into how and why relationships seem to break when we're pursuing our dreams as an entrepreneur, how and why it seems that there's just so much misunderstanding and disconnection in the world around us while we're actually doing something that we really, really love. And we're also going to be talking about how to maintain that relationship, not just on an interpersonal relationship with those in our personal lives, but also on the professional. How do we bring our team with us? How do we maintain retention? How do we maintain loyalty with not just our team, but also our customers? How do we help them dream along with us? And I am so happy to welcome Atiba De Souza once again. Atiba, we chatted last week. I had to jump
Yeah.
off because I had a flight. So there's no flights happening for me, no flights happening for you. Atiba De Souza, you are a new best-selling author. And I'm just so happy you're here. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me again. And last week we said we were going to have fun because we are friends, and that's my friend. And so let's do it again. Let's have some real fun.
I'm so excited. Atiba, you brought up so many important discussion points last week. You talked about how our love languages change as we evolve and as our relationships evolve too. You talked a lot about you and your wife and how you all are creating your life. That was really kind of the thesis for the conversation, was how to create the life you love.
Yeah.
And so for today, creating the life you love, continuing with that through line, relationships are such a big part of the life that we live. And so often those are the things that fall by the wayside. It's like either I can create the vision and life that I love externally, and then I have to leave my family behind and even leave my team behind, or use people to kind of get to where I want to go. But it's so rarely do we see people create a life that they love while maintaining the relationships in their lives. So
Yeah.
I would love for us to first talk about the interpersonal relationships. How have you maintained a semblance of strength, continuity with your children, with your wife, while you're creating this life that you love?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I'm here in Phoenix this week, and I'm here for an event with Michael Hunter. If y'all don't know him, great guy, personalbrand.com. And he said something last night that kind of encapsulates this. I want to share this. And so credit to Michael on this, because it encapsulated a lot of what I've been living and attempting to live for the last few years. Okay. Which is, we set this destination of, this is the life that I want, and we're working towards it. And if every single day there isn't a part of that life in your everyday, then you're doing it wrong.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
Right. And so now let's crosswalk that back into relationships, and how does that actually happen, and what does that actually mean? It means we have to be present.
Mm.
One of the biggest changes for me a few years ago was understanding that I was hardly ever present right now, right here, in this moment. I was always so much in the future and so much in terms of where we were going that I wasn't here. Right. And it's a moment by moment thing. And so, like, we're here right now, me and you. And right now, there is nothing else that matters but me and you. I am here 100% bought in. You hear the cliche carpe diem. You hear, YOLO and all this other fancy terms that people love to use and what have you. But when you really break down what the essence of those cliches, it's talking about, hey, this is the only moment that you have.
Mm.
And so be in this moment. Make the absolute, not make the most of this day.
Yeah.
Make the most of this moment. Give everything in this moment.
Mm.
Right. And so that's the
Wow.
thing with relationships.
Wow, that changes everything. And man, I love I love and I'm so grateful for what you're saying, Atiba. And how do we, I mean, this is the visionary, the entrepreneur in me that's thinking of like even the artist, actually I was on a show the other week where we had Qasim Aslam on, and he was talking about how a lot of people confuse being an entrepreneur when they're really an artist or they're actually an inventor. And so the whole whether you're the entrepreneur, whether you're the artist, whether you're the inventor, so much of that is visionary. So much of that is looking into the future.
Mm-hmm.
So how
Mm-hmm.
do we maintain that kind of future orientation while being so in the present?
Yeah, that's a really fun question, and one, love Qasim and love that he brought that up because that is the struggle, and I can tell you. So let me just give you a little bit of history there. Um, I've probably gotten really good at this in the last few years.
Mm,
Okay. Um, my very first marriage, one of the reasons it failed is because I couldn't live in the present.
mm,
I was always so much in the future that I ignored everything going on right now.
mm,
Right. And that led to her having no security,
right.
no safety in the relationship, which then created mounds and mounds of other issues. Right. And so there is a balance there. I'm not going to tell you I have some magic formula. I don't. But there is a balance there of recognizing that this that I'm doing right now is going to get me to the future that we've defined.
Mm, hmm,
But I got to be super present in the here and the right now, right? And this is my faith has been tested on this in the last 90 days a ton, because we're planning, for the last 5-6 months, we've been planning this move out of the country.
yeah.
And it's so easy to think about just the 6 months and where we're going to be in 6 months and ignore
Yes.
everything
Yeah.
right now. Ignore all of the beauty, all of the opportunity, everything in this moment right now, because yes, we have a big thing happening in a month and a half at this point, right? Um, but it's really in slowing yourself down and recognizing, okay, I got to do this here and be all in.
Mm,
And now let's talk about it in relationship, because I know that's probably where you want to go next with this, right? Is that also means that there's a boundary and a respect. So there are times where I am locked in and I'm in this moment, and my wife comes in, she wants attention because there's some thing on Facebook she wants me to see. Yeah,
mm,
well, I'm not in that right now.
yeah. Mm,
Now, for most of us though, we're not in that right now. Often, and then we never go back. But it's a matter of, but now I need to make time in another moment and be all in.
I love this. I love the addition of boundaries because that's so important. And then that also protects her in your time, where your daughter can come in and say, "Hey, Dad, look," and you're like, "Hey, no, I'm in a conversation with Mom."
Yep.
It extends to every single area of our life. But I
Yep.
love that we need to effectively train our partners, our kids, every single person, that this is the boundary to ensure that I remain present in the moment.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, it's not easy. Okay. I'm just sitting here just telling anybody this is easy. I struggle with this. I struggle with this on a personal level every single day, all the time, to make sure that I stay here. But here's the other struggle that I'm having right now. Real talk, y'all. I mean, we're here for real talk, right? The knowing, we're here to know real stuff. So my wife has started doing it,
Mm.
and I'm not used to it. And I'm used to, okay, I'm ready to talk. And she's going to give me the attention. And she's like, excuse me, I'm doing something right now.
Good for
I'm
her.
locked in.
Yeah.
Right. And, and so I've had to
Mm.
also learn on the boundary side, right? Like,
Yeah.
okay, I see that she's locked in,
Mm.
and either decide I'm going to wait or say, hey, when you get a moment.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Atiba, this is so important. I was talking with a friend the other day about relationships and how so a lot of time, especially if you're not physically living with someone, whether it's a friend, a romantic relationship, whatever the relationship dynamic is, there can often be a sense of waiting for, and it's not even just the relationship, it's for the event. You know, you're talking about this
Yes.
beautiful, wonderful change in your life that's taking place. And so the question, and it's not to be black and white, but am I waiting or am I present? Am I actually looking around the corner of this future moment? Am I even thinking 10 seconds ahead? You know, when we think about active
Mhm.
listening, we're here in this moment, not preparing what I'm going to say next. So this element of presence really is the antidote to most every type of discomfort in ourselves, where it's like, man, I don't feel content. You know, I feel
Mhm.
like that's why there's this biblical text where it's like labeling it's called like the secret of contentment. And there
Mhm.
is something about that really, really resonates over. It is a secret. It is something to learn, to train our body. And even just the other day, I mentioned to you before we got on here, I feel this kind of like sense of peace and joy because
Yeah.
I've been feeling kind of this angst the last couple of weeks over this element of waiting. And I'm like, I'm actually going to take the power back, because being in the present moment takes our power back. We've given it to other people to determine things for us. We're waiting on them. Even the future, we've given the future our power rather than
Yes.
take the power back, be here in the present moment, and no one can disrupt my peace.
Yes. And that's so, it's so powerful, and it transcends. And listen, we struggle. So like I struggled with this last week. Real
Mm,
talk. Yeah. So I had to I had to fly back to DC. Okay. Um, and I have a meeting, legal government thing. Had to fly back to DC, and they said I can only do the meeting in the DC, in the Maryland area, and I was
mm.
in California. Okay, fine. It doesn't matter that you have an office down the street. No, I have to be in DC for it. Okay, fine. So I fly in for the meeting. Okay. And I catch a red eye. The meeting's at 8:30. I land at 5. I got to drive from IAD to Baltimore for an
Bless
8:30 meeting. I do it. I get there early, and I'm like, okay, great. This is awesome. I'm here early. Wonderful. This is easy. And I get in, and the person I'm meeting with, it's virtual.
you. Oh, I feel so angry for you. That's so awful.
That's not the bad part.
Oh no.
Then we get to the end of the meeting, and they say, okay, we'll need you to come back in a month, and then we'll do a real in person in a month.
Wow.
Okay. And oh, yes, it has to be in this office. You can't move it anywhere else. Now, for and here's the thing, they said in a month, and they said they'll let me know what the date is 2 weeks before.
They don't know your schedule of moving to the Philippines in a month.
Okay. And so, yeah, for so many of us, there's so much angst, and there was angst for me
Yeah.
created in that,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, there was angst for me created in that moment.
Mm.
And I remember I had left, and I called my wife, and I told her, okay, well, I'm done. And she's like, what do you mean you're done? Because it's like 9 o'clock, 9:15, and I'm done. Okay,
Wow.
for an 8:30 meeting. Right. And she's like, what do you mean you're done? You can't be done. You're like, yeah, I'm done. That was it.
Wow.
And she's driving to meet me in Vegas. And so I'm flying back to Vegas, and I'm in this place of frustration,
Yeah.
knowing that I got to come back in a month, knowing that and I got to be here all day. And then I just look at the flights. I change my flight, and I fly back to Vegas early. We have a beautiful evening in Vegas that we weren't
Mhm.
going to have because I wasn't supposed to get into Vegas till 11.
Yeah.
Right. But you see, the thing is, I could have sat in that moment of frustration
Yes.
and fumed about it. Okay. Do what actually I was about to do. Go eat about it. I was going to go find a place and just eat. Like, when we eat our feelings, y'all,
Yeah.
right? And this is presence in the moment.
Mm,
It's just centering, calming yourself and saying, okay, where are we right now and what needs to be done and what's reality?
mm,
What's reality? And it started for me when I first really started learning this was in coaching football and reading Trevor Moawad's book. Um, what is I forget the title of Trevor's book right now. Um, but he's the one who trained Russell Wilson when Russell Wilson was winning championships with Seattle.
yeah.
Right, he was Russell Wilson's mind coach.
Okay.
Okay, and so that's where it started for me, learning this it's about 6 years ago, 6 7 years ago,
Wow.
um, and in that moment, I just and
Right.
centered and said, okay, well, I don't need to be in DC anymore. And looked at the flights, and there was a flight in 3 hours. I'm like, okay, can I change this flight? Change the flight, and we're out.
Wow.
And then we end up having this beautiful evening in Vegas that was unplanned, unscripted, and wasn't supposed to happen.
Yeah. Mm,
Right?
yes. Atiba, it's so interesting. There's this little quip from a country song where it says, like, thank God for unanswered prayers. There's something about, and I'm actually reading David Hawkins' Letting Go right now, which is all
Mm-hmm.
about letting go
Mm-hmm.
of those desires, and even that word desire effectively communicates that I don't
Mm-hmm.
have it, so it's already living in the lack. And I'm really wrestling with just really understanding this, because I understand it on a cognitive level and even an existential level, but how do I pull it and ground it into practice where I can want something, desire it, voice it, but it's coming ultimately from a place of abundance. Like, I am so excited that I already have this, and I know that it will just arrive when it's the right time.
Yes.
Like, rather than looking at time as a linear thing, it's let's just go ahead and remove the confines of time that limit and thus allow for lack, and just be in this present moment. And it's interesting, I just feel like this is such a new topic for me. There's a lot there that I don't really understand, but I know that in the present moment is where creativity lies, because I can't create in
Yes.
the future and I can't create in the
Okay.
past.
No.
And
It's right
creation,
here.
yes, it's right here, right now, and it's in the unknown. And so the more I allow for me to sit in the discomfort of the unknown, of like, oh, I actually don't like this. This is uncomfortable. I'm just going to sit and marinate in this and allow for the discomfort. I had to do that last week. I felt like I was in the arena for like 5 days straight. It was really uncomfortable because I didn't really know what I was contending with, but I knew that I was almost at the cusp of breakthrough, because there was just this, to use your word, angst. Yes. But I had to stay here. I couldn't
Mm-hmm.
go. I love that you said go eating, turning on TV, picking up our phones. All of those elements take us out of the here and now. And I think what's
Mm-hmm.
really good to add to that is that the here and now doesn't always mean it's pleasant. To your
Mm-hmm.
point of, you could have gone and eaten, you were feeling uncomfortable and you wanted to get rid of those feelings, but you were able to breathe and stay in the present moment. And then we get strategic, we get creative of new solutions for the problem. But if we're running away from the problem, we can never create a solution for the problem. So
Right.
I'm so grateful for that example. It's so tangible. Mm,
Yes. Um, wow, there's so much that you just said there. And something hit me. So we'll talk Hawkins, and there's something that hit me in the middle of what you said there too. Is in this moment is where creativity lives. And for those of us who are entrepreneurs, we can very easily confuse future and creativity, right?
mm.
We can and see the thing is, being a visionary is creative, but you've got to be here in order to create there,
Oh, I love that
right?
word.
And so when you asked me that earlier, and you're like, how do you stay here
Yeah.
even when you're and I didn't have an answer for you just
I
then
just got so
until
excited. That's it. That's the answer. I love that, Atiba. Ah,
you just pulled it all together,
well,
right?
you said it. Yes. Ah, wow.
Okay. And Hawkins does
Wow.
talk about that. So for anybody who hasn't read Letting Go, take 6 months of your life and read it. Okay. If you read it faster than 6 months, you're doing it wrong.
I was about to say, literally, give yourself time. I'm listening to the chapter. I'm going back and listening again. It's been 2 months already.
Yes. I did 5 chapters at a time on rotation.
Oh, I love
I
that.
would I would listen to 5 and then go back and listen to it and go back and
That's
listen to it and go
so
back.
good.
Right.
Yeah.
And it took me 6 months to go through the book, and it was a big part of helping me understand as well,
Yeah.
uh, you know, being present. I remember there's one story that he tells in the book about how he wanted this apartment in, I think, Central Park in New York,
Yes.
and you couldn't find those apartments. It was impossible. And he's been angst about it. And on one day, he just decided, you know what? It is what I want. It will happen when it's supposed to happen. And that day at 5 o'clock, he decides, I'm going to go look. And that's defies all odds, right? And all the lights turn green. He shows up in a realtor's office and they say, you know what? This never happened, but we just had one come available like 10 minutes ago. And the thing is, and so this is the other piece that's been working on me that over the last
Mhm.
year as well. Time doesn't exist.
Can you talk about that more? Because that's something that I've been like putting a thumb on the pulse of it. But when I said this is so much bigger than me, that's one of the things where I'm like, again, I understand it and it actually makes a lot of sense, but I don't really know. I don't understand it well enough to explain it. So can you explain?
Yeah. So when you get into understanding quantum physics, and this takes you into understanding the universe and what's going on outside of just our little speck of life here, right?
Yes.
And you look at it at a much grander scale, we start to realize that time is a construct that only exists inside of a construct. Like,
Mhm.
without creating bounds, there is no such thing as time. And so we've been trying to measure time because it gives us a frame
Mm.
to understand. Okay. Because as humans, we need that because we're making these associations and connections.
Mm.
And so something has to take this much time.
Yes.
And we put it in this kind of box.
Yeah.
Right. Let's take it back to relationships. There's that old thing of love at first sight, and people will say, oh, that doesn't exist, you need time to be with the person. My mother-in-law is famous for saying you need to see someone through 4 seasons before you make any big decisions, right? And it's because we've created this time,
Mm.
and we've assigned this time to this thing and this
Yeah.
outcome, but it's not true.
Mm.
It's all derived and made up by man. It doesn't actually exist.
Yeah.
The
I
entire concept is just a concept.
I love when you said we put it into a box. There's a lot of safety and certainty, and
Hmm.
time is certain. So if you want to think of removing time as a concept, all of a sudden it's like, wait, all of the pegs that are holding down my tent just got pulled out. I'm going to blow away. What's going to happen? There's a lot of fear there because we think in boxes, we think in black and white. And I got to tell you, Atiba, one of the biggest things that I really had to struggle with and figure out was existing in the gray. When my husband was leaving, my
Mm,
therapist was like, he can love you and leave you. And I was like,
mm,
mind blown. Like, no, if you love somebody, you work it out. If you love somebody, you stay. It was just like, no, it was the logical if this, then that. And, I was raised in a very Christian conservative black and white household. And my education was very classical logic
yes.
forward, which was if this, then that. And so it really is a whole new paradigm of letting go, not thinking, let me work for something, but also recognize that it will come to me when I do let go. It's just, that's where it's like this whole law
Yes.
and attraction law of
Yes.
attraction. It's so there's so much more here, and quantum physics. I'm glad you brought that up because again, I think that that's where it's. I think people even hear that. I've heard that, and I immediately am tempted to shut off because I have told myself, oh, I'm not that smart. I'm not that intellectual, right? And so really, how much of life have we shut ourselves off from because of our own inner narrative, because
Yeah.
of fear of what might,
Yeah.
because of fear of uncertainty? I think that at the end of the day, I might say, oh, I'm just not that smart, but really I'm afraid of what maybe I've believed to be true that may not be true.
And stay right there. That's it. That right there is it. And that gets back to the time thing as well. It's like
Mhm.
we believe that what we believe and what we believe must be true.
Yeah.
And the um the fun part of life is this. What if everything you believed isn't true?
Mm. Mm.
Just okay. What if everything you know isn't true? So let me give you some examples there. So it took me just over 90 days to write my book. I've talked
Mm.
to a lot of authors um, in my time who are best-selling authors, and they've all given me the look of, "Oh, your book must not be very good." It took me years
Mm.
because there's a belief that a good book is going to take years.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Great. Um, that's on something that most of us can understand.
Mm.
What about something like oxygen? Like we've all understood oxygen based on what we were taught in earth sciences in school,
Right.
and we all understand photosynthesis, right? Sun, plants, that whole cycle, right? Like that's we've all been taught that, and we all believe, right?
Right.
Until last year when they found rocks at the bottom of the Pacific Ocean that produce oxygen.
That blows my mind.
Why?
All of a sudden, everything flips on its head.
And then you have to exactly you have to say so.
What else is
Is,
there?
and that's the key,
Yes.
right? And
Ah,
so part of letting go is recognizing I don't know
mhm.
crap.
Yeah.
And what else is there?
Mm.
What else is there?
I just had this thought, Atiba. This is where it's fun because my brand is knowing. And it's almost this pursuit of knowing to then unknow,
Hmm.
because the reality is for so long as we live with our head in the sand, that is not being open and curious. And you know what I mean? It's like, okay, let's actually pick our head up, come to know what we do believe, what are those inner narratives, what are those constraints, and then we can then actively let them go. But we have to
Yes.
do the work to first know it, and then we
Yes.
can then let it go, and then create space and capacity for something new and something bigger and something more.
And that's the oxymoronical dichotomy,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because we all want to get to a place where we know and then we sit,
Yes. Yes. The certainty,
right?
the comfort, the safety that's derived from that.
And that certainty, comfort, and safety is exactly what keeps us unsafe, uncertain, and broken.
Mm, wow. That's
Okay.
so good.
Right? It's
Yeah.
exactly what keeps us in a place where this side fights with that side.
Yeah.
Because I'm certain and I'm comfortable and I know.
Yeah.
And you're certain, you're comfortable and you know. But what
Mm.
if what if?
What if? Yes. What if?
And what would life be like if? My daughter helped me with this, the youngest one, and she didn't know. So my daughter's a speech and debate champion, um, and 5 years ago, she never lets us see her perform.
Oh.
The only time she performs for us is at Thanksgiving for the entire family. Other than that, like she's never let us come to her competitions. Like
Interesting.
she graduated high school ranked number 2 in the country, and she never let us come to any competitions. Okay,
Oh my gosh.
like yeah, she was great, but it was her 8th grade year.
Mm,
She did at Thanksgiving this presentation, and it smacked the mess out of me
mm,
because what she talked about was improv, right? And the premise of improv of yes and so if this is true, yes
wow.
and what else can be true? And and
Love
so
that.
and so therefore we get to this place of knowing and we stop. But instead we should say, well, if that is true, yes and what else can be true? What can we take next? What's the next step that we can go to?
And being present allows for us to do that because in presence is creation. I love this.
And you see
Wow.
how it all comes back together.
Yes. Atiba, this is so, 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 so good. I love our conversations. I want to be mindful of our time. We've got 10 minutes left. I
Okay.
want to talk about presence and really just nurturing relationships with our teams and with our
Yeah.
clients.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so often we're like, okay, I'm going to have this box for family, this box for business, but we show up, the health of ourselves shows up pretty much similarly in both categories. So the practice of presence with your wife and with your family has really been the antidote to conflict, to maintaining connection. What about your team? Is it
Yeah.
still presence, or is there something else?
Yeah. So I heard something, and I'm not going to say who said this. A guru said this from stage, and I completely disagree with it.
Mm,
And it's how you show up on camera should not be how you are in your regular life.
okay.
Now, I understand that because I'm on camera a lot. There's a bit of performative art that we do
Mhm.
on
Mhm.
camera. Yes, because you're on camera, but I shouldn't be fundamentally a different human.
Right. I completely agree with that.
Okay. I should be me. And when you meet me, yes, it may be a little bit toned down, but it
Right.
still should be, you should still get the same assets. Right.
Yes.
Okay. So understand that how you are in one place is how you should be everywhere.
Mm.
And so,
Mhm.
yes, with the team, it's about presence. With the team, it's about and it really is no different than maybe my wife won't doesn't want to hear me say this, a spousal relationship.
Mm.
Okay. So part of a spousal relationship is we want to help bring out and amplify the best in this other person. We want to be the fertilizer and the water that helps them spring.
Mm.
And that's what we do.
Love that.
Now, the challenge is at work, so many of us show up as a freaking superhero, right? And at work, I'm the champion. Right? This is mine. I'm the boss. I'm the big person. And here's the thing, most of us don't actually say that, but that's how we act.
Yeah. Mm.
Okay? That's how we
Mm.
act. And that's what they receive. Okay? And see, we don't create these environments where we co create with our staff. We don't
Mhm.
create these environments where we understand that as a leader, vision vision is the first thing that you've got to be able to set, and we already talked about that takes being present.
And
Okay, openness is the next one. You have to be willing to be open. Now what does that mean? That really means that you got to slow yourself down enough to tell the truth to your team. Like there are times
that
when
again for the people in the back.
you got to slow yourself down enough to tell the truth to the people on your team. There are
Mm.
times when we have a team meeting and I'll come in and I'll say, hey, listen, y'all, I am in a really bad place right now because I'm feeling really anxious about this. But I'm
Mm,
feeling really anxious about this because X, Y, or Z. Okay. And I understand that I'm feeling this way because of what's going on inside of me. And that may not even be true for where y'all are and what y'all are experiencing.
right,
But I wanted to be able to come and share that because
right.
it's coloring the
Mm,
way I may respond to some things. And I want you to understand my perspective on it. And I'm
yes.
not saying that I'm right. Okay. And see, in those moments of openness, how many of us actually do that, right? But in those moments of openness, that's where now we set a stage for them to be able to recognize, hey, I can have real conversation with you. I can't
Mm,
tell you how many times I've been there. My team's like, okay, I mean, we hear you and all, but here's the scorecard. Here's the project plan. Here's the, like, you said you were concerned about this. I mean, we took care of that 2 weeks ago. You
I
said this,
love
and
that.
and so we hear that that's your where you are, but I mean, we got all of that.
Yeah.
Or sometimes it's we hear where you are, and you're right.
Yes.
Like we're struggling here, and we need, and it opens dialogue, which then leads us to the third thing as a leader with your team that you must do.
Mm,
Okay, the third thing, and you see, so many of us as leaders, and I'm raising my hand because I'm bad at it. And I'm constantly working on this too. We like to do this a lot. And we like to tell a lot. And the thing is, we have to start asking questions.
mm,
Your leadership is measured by the quality of the questions that you ask,
mm. So good. So good.
right? And so with the team, that's what presence looks like.
Mm. I
Okay.
love this. Presence looks like asking questions in leadership roles. That's so good, Atiba. And I think too, even in interpersonal relationships, the quality of our questions really draws people out. And it's a it's almost the natural outpouring of active listening.
Mhm.
Is that
It
intrigue?
is.
It's the asking further questions. So wait, let's dig into that because I'm really actually paying attention and now I'm emotionally invested. So that's a
Mhm.
great audit. And that frankly, that's something I think all of us can do to ask our partner, to ask our peers and people in our lives and our team, how's the quality of my questions? Because
Mhm.
if we're not asking questions, it reveals it's almost like the tip of the iceberg. Am I asking good questions? And then based on the result, there's a depth underneath the water of
Yeah.
where we grow.
Yes. And the challenge there is society has taught us it's counterintuitive to ask questions.
Mm.
And or if we're going to ask questions, we ask them with judgment.
Mm. Yeah, with an
Okay.
agenda. Yeah.
Why'd you do that? Right?
Yeah.
Judgment. Right? Hey, so this happened, and I was wondering, um, what was it that happened before that caused that to happen?
Mm.
It's the same question,
Yeah. Yes. I
right?
love it. Well, and that's why you say the quality of your questions. It's not just asking questions. What's the quality and the depth of the question? And thus it reveals the intent of
Yeah,
the why
yeah.
we're asking in the first place. That's
And
so
so it's one of the things we cover in the book because we talk about the difference between a learner question and a judger question,
good. Mm.
and how you can help yourself on either side. And we even built a pocket coach, which you get with the book, that actually helps you where you can say, especially with your teams,
Yeah.
because look, we all have these situations with our teams. Let's be real. And something happens and you want to react.
Mm.
And so we built this little pocket coach that you can actually come and talk to and say, hey, this is what's going on,
Cute.
right? And this is what I want to happen. And this is what I'm thinking about saying. And it will help you reframe
Mm.
and come up with the right set of questions to ask.
Love this. Okay. So tell everyone where we can learn about your book, where we can get your book, and more about your pocket coach.
So
Yay.
it's the delegation trap. You can go to thedelegationtrap.com. That's the delegationtrap.com. And if you're a small business owner and you have a team, or you want to have a team, and you're in a place where it feels like your team is the problem, it feels like, you're constantly chasing, they're constantly coming to you, you're constantly asking questions, you're constantly putting out fires, you're constantly. And it feels like most of your time is just spent managing your team. Guess
Right.
what? You're not delegating right. And it's not your fault,
You're the
to be
problem.
completely honest with you. It's not. And we talk about this in the book, the fact that for all of us, we've probably read some book on management at some point, some book on delegation at some point, and I read them all, and most of them are filled with lies.
Mm,
I'm gonna be blunt. I often wonder, now that I'm sitting on this side of delegation and understanding
mm,
delegation in this way, I often wonder if a lot of the people who wrote those books actually ever used those principles.
mm.
If you don't mind, Christine, here's one. 80%. There's this whole thing of the 80% rule. If someone can do it 80% as good as you, let them. You should delegate it. At the surface, that sounds like okay, and it gives you a rubric. Again, that time thing,
Yeah.
another lie.
Yeah.
It gives you a rubric to follow, to say, okay, they can do it probably 80% as good as me, so I'll delegate it. Here's the lie though. Did you start your company so that it could produce 80% results?
Mm,
No, you didn't. So you wonder why you're up at night. You wonder why you're not happy.
yeah.
Well, that's why. Now let's take it even further and expose that lie some more.
Mm,
If if you believe that they can do it 80% as good as you, chances are they could do it 80% as good as that. And so they're really doing about 60% of you.
mm.
Now you start to see the problem.
Yeah. That's so good. That's so good, Atiba. Wow.
Okay.
Mm,
Versus the system that, and I accidentally found this because I was just like you. I was frustrated in delegation and frustrated with teams, having
right.
all sorts of problems until I figured this out. And now my team, they don't hit 80%. They don't even hit 100%. They don't even hit 110%. They're often 120, 130% better than me.
Wow. What a blessing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's how it should
You can
be.
have that too. Yeah,
Atiba,
it's how
I
it should be.
love this. It's how it should be. It's possible. And you're telling us how. I'm so excited for your book. I'm
Thank you.
so excited. So where can we get it? Amazon
You can go to Amazon.
or the
The thing with going to Amazon, you buy it on Amazon, they'll ship it to you. That's wonderful. Love you for it. However, if you go to
Delegation?
thedelegationtrap.com and buy it from our website, you'll get all of the bonuses, including that pocket coach and a bunch of others
Yay.
that we talked about.
Y'all go to thedelegationtrap.com and go get Atiba's book. Atiba, I'm so grateful for this conversation. I loved it as always. I'm so grateful for you, my
Yes.
friend. And I
Thank
just
you.
know that there's so many exciting big things happening for you. So I'm grateful for a front row seat in your life and the change that you're making. Thank you.
And right back at you, because you
Mm,
are my friend and I love you for it.
likewise. Friends,